Welcome back to Sports Cards and a Cup of Joe. This is your host, Joe Davis, and it is great to be back with you today. And today we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be talking about some of my all-time favorite characters, and that is Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and the whole Peanuts gang. And we're going to be talking about their non-sport rookie cards. This is our second installment of looking at the non-sport industry, looking at cartoon themed characters and looking at the earliest cards of these characters. Today we're going to actually cover multiple of the Peanut sets, but we're going to focus on their earliest ones for sure. And one thing I like to do when I'm researching something to buy, and this is hopefully will be kind of a big picture business lesson for some of you that you can relate, you can apply, I should say, to many other areas in the trading card industry. Yes, I love the Peanuts characters. I've loved them since I was a kid, but the reason they're still relevant today, and one of the things I researched, is what are the yearly global sales for Peanuts merchandise. Now, in our previous installment on this topic, when we looked at the earliest cards of Looney Tunes characters, Flintstones characters, and Scooby-Doo characters, each of them, from my research, typically have right now about $200 to $300 million per year in global merchandise sales for, you name it, not trading cards, but clothing and toys and games and all the related apparel and so forth. So pretty good numbers for each of those brands, 200 to 300 million per. By comparison, just this morning, I was researching Peanuts, the brand, all the characters related, and global sales on Peanuts-related merchandise in 2025 is reportedly about $3.2 billion. So about 10 times as much as each of those other brands we looked at in our previous episode on this topic. So there is still plenty of global demand for Peanuts-related merchandise. Now you might say, yeah, but it pales in comparison to like Pokemon. Correct, it does. Pokemon is estimated last year global sales about 10 to 12 billion. Obviously one of the largest in the category. Still far behind Disney global sales, but Pokemon, of course, is one of the largest, most recognized, most purchased brands out there globally. But Peanuts, to have been around 76 years, still has a lot of staying power. So again, compared to some of its peers in this space, Peanuts is still a very dominant force, and there's still plenty of demand. So I do that kind of research. I'll look at a product line, look at a well-known brand, look at a set of characters, and I go, okay, is there still a lot of demand for those characters? There absolutely is. I've never met anyone who said, I don't really like that Snoopy character, or I don't think much of Charlie Brown. They are beloved worldwide. And so in my Cartoon Cards magazine, of course, I have a whole section on Peanuts, which I'm going to be referencing. And here is an original 1971 Peanuts pack, which we'll be talking about. But I said we're going to talk about rookies. We're going to talk about their first appearance cards. And like I shared on the other episode that we've done on this topic, it's not set in stone like the sports card industry. Again, if I talk about 1977, Dale Murphy. Of course, I'm an Atlanta Brave fan. Everyone knows that's the Dale Murphy rookie card. Everyone knows 1975 is the Robin Yount and George Brett rookie cards, and so forth. And I can go down the line. Ricky Henderson, 1980. Tim Raines, 1981, both the regular issue set and the traded card, and so forth and so on. But when it comes to non-sports, it's not nearly as clearly delineated in our industry, and it can be very confusing. Like I shared on the last episode, and go back and check that one out if you want more info. I talked about the Scooby-Doo cards and how there's a couple of different ones that are considered rookie cards, and even the grading companies aren't positive on the exact year some of them were released. So when it comes to Peanuts, I'm going to give you the earliest known ones as far as what the grading companies do, and then my own opinion on them. How's that? So let's start back in 1965. Again, this is 15 years after the Peanuts brand was introduced in late 1950. But in 1965, Peanuts did a joint venture with Wonder Bread, and there was a series of 7 different Snoopy cards released with Wonder Bread, which shows him with some classic airplanes. We call them the Snoopy airplane cards. And there were 7 different ones. They're little square cards about the size of a Monopoly card. If you've ever played the classic game Monopoly, that's about the size of them. So 7 different ones only showed Snoopy and an airplane. So they were informational cards. Also that year in France, I'm going to embarrass myself here trying to do some French because I never took French in school, but there was a set of 12 cards, and when the grading companies labeled them, they labeled them as 1965 La Vache Kérit. And you can make fun of me because that was my best attempt, but it means the laughing cow. The Laughing Cow is a brand of French cheese, or at least it was back then. I don't know if it's still around. But La Vache Kérit, 12 different stickers, not cards. These were 12 different stickers of Snoopy, small cards, beautiful color. Those, all the companies labeled 1965. To me, they don't look like they're that old because the stock on the stickers is pretty clean, but nonetheless, that's when the copyright is dated on them, and that's what we see in a lot of instances with non-sports. The grading companies maybe cannot find the information they need, so they go with the copyright date on the stickers. So those I have seen slabbed by both PSA and SGC as 1965, 12 different stickers of Snoopy. Now, the ones that I think are, if when you want to talk about true rookies, cards that came in packs, I'm moving all the way up to 1971, and this was an Italian issue, and now you can make fun of my Italian. There was a set released in Italy in conjunction with this magazine. This was Linus magazine, and it was not a cartoon magazine, though they would have some cartoons in them, but it was just a, like political commentary. There was all kind of stuff. This was early 70s magazines released in Italy, and they were called Linus Magazine. And they released a series of cards that came in these packs. I have probably one of the few packs left out there. Les Figurines de Linus, which literally means the stickers of Linus. But they're not stickers, they're cards. But they were designed to be pasted into an album produced by this magazine company. There were albums produced where you could buy up the cards and then paste them. You could then paste them into an album. This again is just one of their monthly issues, but they made albums this size, and the cards were designed to be pasted into them. And nowadays we talk about all the parallels and the inserts. Well, this set was way ahead of its time, because get this, I'm going to have to read this to you because I forget myself. There were 320 cards in the set, 15 additional puzzle cards, basically insert cards, 9 secret cards that were unnumbered, and 8 different stickers, but they came in multiple variations with 2 different panels per sticker, so there's actually multiple variations. And yes, I have the complete set of all of them. In fact, I think I have the only near complete set on the PSA registry, which I've got to update because I've got some back recently. But to me, those are true rookies in the sense that they were released in packs. They weren't just a novelty item released with cheese in France or released with bread here in the States, though those are vintage cards and they're very collected. And the pop report from PSA on all of these I'm talking about is ridiculously low. I literally had to work with PSA on some of the ones I sent in because they weren't even in their database. And I remember the first time I graded some of these 1971 cards with SGC, they had the characters identified incorrectly, and I had to provide information to help them update who the characters were. And so very, I'm not going to say it's scarce. I will say there's not many of them graded. There's not many of them out there. You don't see collectors running a full set for sale. It's like you would see a 71 Topps baseball set. The pop report is ridiculously low. A lot of these, there's no high grades. There's several of these that I have like PSA 8s on. They're the highest ever graded, and sometimes the total pop report will be like 3 or 4 ever graded on some cards from this set. So it is a very, I would say it's a beautiful set, classic 70s color artwork from Charles Schultz, but it's a set that many collectors don't even know about. I mean, I've been a Peanuts collector for decades, and I literally did not even learn about that set until about 1.5 years ago. And I was immediately hooked because I was like, hey, what a great challenge for me. This huge Peanut set, lots of cards, very difficult. I spent a lot of money with eBay sellers from Italy trying to track some of them down. So it's just a incredible, beautiful set. I am still looking for a Charlie Brown card number 1 in a PSA 10. I'm still looking for a Snoopy card number 5 in a PSA 10. Actually, even in a PSA 9. I don't even know if one exists. But the first 8 cards in the set, most consider those the rookie cards of those characters. It includes Charlie Brown, Snoopy. Like I said, card numbers 1 and 5 are the most important cards in the set. There's also Linus, of course, there's Schroeder, there's Lucy, there's also Patty and Shermie, the original Patty, not Peppermint Patty, and Shermie, who was in many of the early strips, and he appeared in the Charlie Brown Christmas episode. But both Patty and Shermie were eventually phased out as characters in the series, but they were very relevant when the cards were released in 1971. Okay, my opinion, those are the 3 oldest, at least as far as the grading companies are concerned. If new information comes out, I would love to hear. I would love to learn about it myself. If there's other stuff out there, because I scour the web for old Peanuts cards because I'm such a fan and such a collector. And I'll mention a couple of others because there is one really popular one that there's a lot of confusion about because both PSA and SGC labeled them incorrectly initially. And those are the Dolly Madison cards that were released in 1983. There's only 6 cards of all major characters, and when they were first released, and they show them playing baseball, so it's very cool, a very cool tie-in for baseball card collectors. But when they were first released, I should say when they first started being graded, they were mislabeled as 1970. So you'll occasionally still see some out there where PSA or SGC has labeled them as 1970. And then recently, over the last 2 years or so, they corrected themselves and have correctly been labeling them as 1983, which is when they were released, according to a number of guides, according to, I use different reference guides on the history of Peanuts collectibles, and I've actually consulted with the curator at the Schultz Museum out in Santa Rosa and discussed trading cards with him in the past and trying to get information and share information with them as well. So those are very expensive, very sought after, and I think some of that was born out of the fact that for a long time, many sellers would call those rookie cards. They're not. They were made in 1983, but they are very scarce. The pop report on those with PSA is incredibly low. There's very few. I've never heard of, oh, there was a find of hundreds of these. There are just not many out there, and very, very few have been graded. And I'm proud to own one complete set of those graded, and I'm always looking to upgrade mine, but they are very, very tough and very sought after. The 1983 Dolly Madison. Now, prior to those, there were others, and so I'm going to try to, while we're on this topic, I'm going to share a couple of others that I'm aware of. In the 1970s, Millbrook Bakery released some presidential stickers, 12 different ones. Those are beautiful little small stickers. And PSA labels those as 1980, but SGC labels them as 1970s, meaning they believe they were released sometime during the 1970s. In 1974, Milton Bradley released the Snoopy card game, and they were oversized cards of Peanuts characters. And the one thing that's disappointing to me in that set is they have beautiful full-color cards of several characters, but all of the Snoopy cards were black and white. And so there's some funny, entertaining cards in that one that say "ha ha" with Snoopy on them, but they're oversized cards, and they will get graded by the grading companies. I've sent them in to SGC. I believe I've sent some of those to PSA before as well. Now, if you're a serious enthusiast and you really want to knock out collecting some of all of these, in 1975, Hallmark released a series of 6 playing card games that were themed, Peanuts themes. There was ones called Security, which would have Linus on the back of all of them. There was a set called Born Loser, which showed Charlie Brown in a baseball jersey and said Born Loser. And there were 4 others, but those are beautiful cards. Again, they're playing cards, but they included many iconic Peanuts characters. And PSA to date has not graded any of those, but I have graded some of those with SGC. And they're beautiful, vibrant, mid-70s colors, bright purples, and just gorgeous cards. Now, when it comes to more modern cards, I know I'm going to miss some, but I'm going to share a couple of them with you that I know of. In 1987, Panini released a set of 288 Snoopy stickers called I Love Snoopy. 1991, the old Tough Stuff magazine, this set is well known and widely traded, released a series. They called it the Peanuts Preview Set. It was a 33-card little box set. And they called it a preview set because I guess there were plans to release a full series, which never happened. But there are 33 cards in that little box set, and they had they were randomly inserted Charles Schultz autographs in those. I've never seen one in person, but there were some Schultz autographs inserted in those. 1991, Ziploc Bags released some baseball-themed playing cards of Peanuts characters, 9 in that set. 1992, Pro Sport released 2 different series of Peanuts cards, total of 400 cards in that series. And just recently, 2024, Panini released something called the Peanuts Family Stickers, which had 264 stickers plus 50 cards. So there are others out there. Those are just some of the best, well-known cards out there that I have some in my collection of. But again, our main focus in this episode is talking about iconic non-sport rookies. And my opinion, those first 3 I shared are the oldest recognized by grading companies. The 1965 Wonder Bread Snoopy cards, of which there were 7 different. 1965 Lavache K. Rit, the Laughing Cow stickers, 12 different ones, primarily just single shots of Snoopy. And then the 1971 Le Figurine di Linus Italian issue, which again had 320 base cards, 15 puzzle cards, 9 very, very rare secret cards. And the reason I say that is they have been the hardest for me to track down. I've gotten plenty of the puzzles, plenty of the stickers, but those, they call them the secret cards. I don't know in what proportion those were released, but they are incredibly difficult to find, and they're really just, there's some really cool poses. And if you're wanting to see some of these, if you want to see some of these images I'm talking about, visit our cartoon site, cartooncards.com. This is the magazine. You can buy the magazine on the site, but on the website, again, that's Cartoon Cards with a Z, cardz.com. There's a whole portal just for Peanuts. You can go in there and you can view these sets I've talked about. We've got images, I think, for every one of them on the site now. Most of them we have every image, and if I'm missing one, tell me and we'll work on updating it. But that's a labor of love for me. And I mean, I grew up reading the little Schultz paperbacks. I probably became a better English student later in life because I had read so many Schultz books. But you can visit cartooncards.com if you want more info. And coming up on future episodes, I'm going to go ahead and give you a teaser. We're going to be doing a full episode on Disney rookie cards. I'm going to have to bring in a resident expert on that who knows them even better than I do. We're going to be doing a full episode on Disney cards. I'm also going to be doing one that covers such characters that, when I say Disney, I'm talking classic Disney cards released back in the 30s, 40s, 50s. But I'm also going to do an episode to cover a lot of other popular modern characters, such as Toy Story, such as Super Mario, and many others, Shrek, others out there. There's a lot of others, Sesame Street, the Muppets, all those beloved characters. So there's so many to chase. My collection is filled with one of these and 2 of these and 3 from this set. And so I am a passionate cartoon card collector and non-sport collector. So, and I know you're like, Joe, this is a sports card channel, and why aren't you talking about the top 10 hottest cards in the hobby? And why aren't you talking about what's going on with the grading companies? And well, we do cover that, and we just covered it on our last episode. But you know, I love showing the collector side in me because I am a passionate collector. These are some things I love, and I shared that information at the beginning to help you understand why these particular characters are still incredibly relevant. There is still incredible global demand for products of these characters, and I've been buying up a lot of these first as a collector. And yes, I've bought additional of some of these when I can find them because I think they're a bargain right now. But if no one else buys them from me in the future, that's okay. I love collecting them. And so hopefully, if you're a passionate fan of the Peanuts franchise, hopefully I've at least given you some education about some of their earliest cards. And maybe you're at a show this weekend and you run into some and you can add them to your collection and get a great deal on them because you had this insider information, right? So, so many avenues you can go down in this hobby as a collector, and I've been down a lot of them, and I'll continue to go down others. And if you're going to be attending upcoming shows this summer, we're going to be doing an episode about this, but we will be at Fanatics Fest in New York in mid-July. I hope to see many of you there. We will be at the National in Chicago. We will have a 600 square foot booth there. Hopefully you can't miss us if you walk the floor, and we will have, I believe we're going to have 14 team members there to assist you. We'll be taking in grading submissions. We will be taking in consignments. We will be buying. We will hopefully be selling some as well. But those are both going to be incredible events for the hobby, and I look forward to seeing hundreds of thousands of collectors attend those events, and I look forward to interacting with so many of you. And so I appreciate each of you that that join us every episode, and I hope this one has been fun for you. We'll get back to some more hardcore sports card talk on the next episode. But as we were releasing this one during this holiday weekend, I want to give thanks for the incredible, the most amazing country that I'm allowed to live in. And I hope you are celebrating. If you are an American citizen, I hope you are celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country this weekend. And as I close, I remind each of you the most important thing I could share with you is that my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ loves you. He gave his life for you. He wants a relationship with you. And I am so thankful to him for allowing me to do what I get to do in this incredible hobby. And I'm thankful for each one of you because you are awesome. Have a great week, everyone.